Donut Bag is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Your data is your business. Protect it with ExpressVPN. For 3 extra months free with a 1-year package, go to the link listed in my Twitter profile. All right. Lots going on at Steelers training camp. With me to talk about it is Ray Porter Jr. from Urban Media Today. How are you, sir?
I am doing well. And how are you?
Your first time on my podcast. Welcome.
Yes, and it's an honor. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting me. Truly a pleasure.
Thank you. I love your Twitter. I usually when you post things, I just retweet them. I don't steal your stuff, but I just
you can
share it also.
You can steal it. But thank you, though. I appreciate you doing that, and I do the same with you as well.
Yeah. We like a lot of the same things, especially anything you post a lot of Roberto Clemente. Anything you post with him is like, yes, I want it.
Yeah.
But about the Steelers, so many questions. They have their first preseason game this weekend, and what do you think of this team overall? You know, you hear so many things about basically that they're going to be bad.
They say that every year, man.
That's true. That's true. They do. Yeah.
Right.
Overall, what do you think of this team from what you've seen so far?
Well, I mean, a team that came off a 9-8, 9-7-1 record. I'm sorry. I don't know how I forgot about the tie. In 2021 that made the playoffs, made a nice push and had some breaks, of course, but they did their part. I think, and of course, the retirement of future Hall of Famer Ben Roethlisberger, and also defensive end Stephon Tuitt. I think the issue of transition of quarterbacks isn't as heavy as it was, say, like when Bradshaw retired back in '84. Although they really did put their stock into Mark Malone. And I have nothing against Mark Malone because he did get them to the title game, but he just wasn't able to get them to the
And remember Cliff Stout?
Oh, my. Yes, I do. Ultimate backup, but it just wasn't meant for him to, start. He had a good attitude about it, though. I'll give him that. But, yeah, I know what you mean. But I think in Pittsburgh's case, I think they did the right thing with getting Mitch Trubisky, and he's a veteran. He's proven himself with Chicago. I mean, he took them to the playoffs, I believe, twice. And naturally, he had a good defense as well, but he also made the Pro Bowl. So, and then, it's really unfortunate what happened to Dwayne Haskins. I mean, and I know unfortunate is just an understatement. I think about just where I was at when I heard the news. I'm getting ready to go to the Pitt Blue Gold scrimmage, and I'm getting some gas at the station. Happened to pull up my phone like we usually do. It's human to do that. And I saw it posted. I couldn't believe it.
That was like on a Saturday morning or something, right?
It was. Yeah.
So crazy.
Yeah, which is horrible. 24 years old,
Such a shame.
We were looking forward to seeing what he was going to do. And I think because of his unfortunate, tragic passing, that's the reason why Pittsburgh drafted Kenny Pickett, because I didn't believe they were going to draft. I'm glad they did, because I'm so proud of that young man and how he played last year. Amazing. So for them to get him, to draft him and pick up Trubisky, I know Mason Rudolph's there, but I really haven't been a fan of Rudolph's play. I really haven't. I mean, naturally he's been there the longest after Roethlisberger. And I just think that he had plenty of chances to really show himself and prove himself. I mean, Doug Hodges beat him, and Doug had a good run too. He did, and so I think that Pittsburgh should really try to see what they can get for him. I hear they were trying. Someone was mentioning, I think it was Ray Fittipaldo or somebody was mentioning that it's a possibility that a 5th round pick, they might be looking for a 5th round pick for him. So I think sometimes it's just not meant to be on one team. Sometimes that change of scenery makes a difference for him, So I think the quarterback situation, they're handling it well. But the questions that I would have with Pittsburgh is how the offensive line is going to be. Now they added 2 veterans, which I think is wonderful, especially at center. Mason Cole, thank you. Sorry, Kendrick Green just wasn't the answer.
No, he wasn't. Ooh.
Now, Howard did play well the last part of the season. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But you want to have somebody that's just ready to roll. And then, so and as long as the offensive line stays healthy, they get a chance to gel, get a chance to have synergy and unity. I think it'll make a difference. I mean, RJ Harris had 1,200 yards even on that line. So, that says a lot. He made things happen. Defensive line is also a concern. I want to make sure my hope is that they get back to stopping the run, kind of like the Steelers of old, And so I'm hoping, naturally they have a lot of ends though. They have a lot of flexibility there and versatility. And I hope that they really use that to their advantage. Of course, you got Cam Hayward, and of course you got got Tyson Alu if he's 100% because he had been on the pup list, So, and then
he just came off, I think.
Right. Okay. So he just came off, and I saw him doing some sprints on Saturday. So, and he was sprinting. So I figure if you're able to sprint and you're doing something, you're ready to go. You must be. And then do you have Chris Wormsley, who had a career high 7 sacks last year? I'm like, man, if he was smaller, they could put him at the linebacker position.
There you go. That'd be nice.
Yeah. And then you have number 92.
92. Loudermilk?
Yes. Yeah, Loudermilk. You have number 99. I don't know why my mind is just not clicking right now. So they have
Henry Mondo.
Right. And then you have the linebacker. Not the linebacker at the end that they got from Cleveland.
Ogunjobi.
Yes. So my thing is, I say why not just rotate all of them? Because it's always nice to throw fresh legs in, just like what they did with Travis Kersky and Brett Kiesel behind Kimo Von Ohlhoffen. I think that made the difference in the world. So if they are able to stop the run and establish the run, that's going to be their key to success.
It sure seems like, especially with the offense, that they don't want someone to be like Ben Roethlisberger in his prime, throwing it all over the place and taking chances and throwing it. Sounds like they just want somebody to play it safe, rely on the defense. Hopefully the defense gets enough stops, just get enough, don't make mistakes, just establish the run.
Right.
Seems to be the way they want to go. But everything you hear about the offense in training camp is, they don't look good. They don't look good. But then again, they're missing like Najee hasn't been playing. Freiermuth hasn't been playing. Claypool hasn't been playing. Like you're missing almost all of your weapons. So what do you want? Yeah,
and then it's easy for folks, especially diehard fans, to get a little concerned based on what they see in practice. I'm ready to always say, give the Allen Iverson line. Come on now, it's practice.
Talking about practice.
They haven't played their first game yet. We're basing it on what they're doing at Latrobe, whether it's St. Vincent's College or the Stadium or the South Side. They're playing like Tomlin would say. This is Steelers versus Steelers. So that's the opportunity to learn, make mistakes, overcome injuries. Now, when they get ready to play Seattle on Saturday, that's when it starts. And that's when we're going to see what the rookies are going to do, signed free agents are going to do, and those that are trying to make the team are going to do. And that's what's going to determine. All this other stuff, it serves its purpose now. Training camp really serves its purpose, but it's not games. It's right. Not. And for them to rack up stats, I don't know how they do it, but they do. God bless them. But like, it really doesn't pertain to anything. If you mess up at camp, then wow. But I've never participated in training camp, so I can't judge. But it's like, I don't understand. And it's just, again, my opinion, but I don't understand how folks can sometimes draw so many conclusions based on practices. But it is what it is, though.
Yeah, if you're keeping track of training camp stats, like, God bless you, man. That's hey, good for you. But there's better ways to spend your time. But yeah, like you said, they're playing against each other. Not only are you're having Steelers against Steelers. They're Steelers
Mhm.
that know each other. They know each other individually, and they know what plays they're going to run. So,
Exactly.
yeah, it's when you play another team, and that's when you actually see at least something. It's we know they don't really do too much of the playbook during preseason, but still,
Oh,
it's still you still see something.
I was thinking, back in the late '80s, early '90s, remember when they used to scrimmage Washington?
Yeah,
Yeah, now I wonder why they don't do that anymore.
yeah, yeah. Because Washington's nearby.
Hmm.
I think they did it. I'm not sure if they did it like kind of in the, like somewhere in between, or if they did it at one of the camps or something like that. But yeah, have a scrimmage where teams are playing or going against each other. So at least they're used to seeing different people.
Right.
And yeah, I remember maybe because those scrimmages got a little too fired up. Maybe they,
They
they
did.
got a little
It did it
little
up.
too competitive.
Hmm. It's
Uh,
true.
yeah, yeah. Uh, One player I think that has been the darling of camp is wide receiver George Pickens.
Absolutely.
Is he really looking that good? Because it sounds like he's he sounds like he's the real deal already. That people are saying he's going to be rookie of the year, and it was the Steelers got a steal.
Yeah, they did, and I remember seeing him in the national championship game for Georgia. I know, and he also did kind of what Kenny Pickett did. And everybody was saying maybe he should consider going to the pros, but he decided after tearing his ACL, I believe, in the earlier part of the year, he said, "I'm going to stick around and help them win a championship." He comes in and catches that bomb, that 50-something yarder, plays a part in winning in beating Alabama, which we know is never a small feat,
Yeah,
for anybody. And then for them to pick him in the second round and the way he is now, that's one person, one player that is making a true impression. That is the truth. He has the size, he's bigger than I thought he was. He has some height to him. He has some ability. So yes, he is living up to what everybody is saying. He's living up to his hype right now. I mean, some of the catches he's making is incredible.
that's so exciting. And I mean, these wide receivers have so much potential. Really hoping that Chase Claypool has a good year. He had a very good rookie year, and then last year not so great. So hopefully he can rebound. And then Deontay Johnson,
Right.
really excited to see what he's going to do. I mean, he was really good with some really bad circumstances. I mean, his rookie year, he had to deal with the Mason Rudolph duck year. And
Yes, he
then
did.
the past couple of years, he's dealt with Ben Roethlisberger as his as he's basically at his oldest and not so great. So
Mhm.
this offense sounds like it's going to be very different from previous years. So
Mhm.
we'll see.
Yeah.
I think it's exciting. I think it's established that it's going to be Deontay Johnson and then George Pickens and then Chase Claypool and probably Calvin Austin, who I've also heard good things about.
Yeah. He got speeders for real.
And then I guess between I don't know if they'll keep 5 or 6, but it sounds like Anthony Miller is probably going to make the team and Miles Boykin isn't. I think that's probably
Yeah.
the battle going on.
I believe it. I believe it. And then you have Gunnar Oswinski as well as the return specialist. I mean, it's a shame that you can't have a return specialist with its own position, but it has to take up a roster spot somewhere. So he has to be the next
Yeah.
receiver. Yeah, I think you have them all. Yeah, I think you labeled them all, and yeah, Boykin. He'll. I think it's one of them cases that he'll have a chance to make an impression on another team because I mean he was signed off waivers from Baltimore, so someone hopefully someone will look at him. He'll get a chance to move on. He got some size to him too. I was pretty impressed.
Yeah, I was hoping the Steelers would have drafted him, and then when they picked him up, I was pretty excited. But I guess it's just not working out. So oh well.
Yeah, you never know because I mean, but these are the ones that have to make that impression.
Yeah,
These,
yeah,
and now that it's only 3 preseason games instead of the standard 4 and 5, you really got to make that impression.
that's right. That's
Mhm.
right. And then at running back, we know it's Najee, but then after that, it's just
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not very exciting. It's either Benny Snell or Anthony McFarlane or those rookies, Jalen Warren or Mateo Durant or Master Teague. Is like I don't know. None of those options seem very exciting. I don't know if they need to pick someone else up or what's going on. Do you have any sense of what's going to go on with the backup running backs?
Well, I feel like they should pick up a veteran back, just like what when
I
Le'Veon
agree.
Bell was running back, and they picked up um. Oh my goodness, where is my mind at today?
D'Angelo Williams.
Thank you, thank you.
I gotcha.
He was the thank you. He was the perfect backup. And even when LeGarrette Blunt was in there with him, although he didn't last long. But I mean, that's what you do. Get a veteran understudy to go with the kid. And I know Benny Snell's been there since 2019, but I mean, come on, man. His rookie year, he did make some impressions, but I mean, he's not really taking the bull by the horns. You know, when James Conner went down, he didn't do it in 2020. Remember that game against Washington where he had 3 tries to get into the end zone? It was just like someone trying to run into a wall.
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know.
basically.
And then last year, I mean, what's funny is people got surprised that they drafted when Connor moved on, and when they drafted Harris, people were like, "Well, what about Benny Snell?" And I'm like, "No offense, but what about him?"
What about him?
Yeah. So he had averages 2.7 yards per carry last year on 98 yards. And I don't care how many yards Harris had. That's not impressive. So I don't see. I think he's better suited somewhere else. And I think I can't see him really making that impression. If you want to cut the load off of Najee Harris, get somebody that's a good change of pace back, or someone that can give him a breather. And I'm sorry, Snell was not that. I mean, look at the final game against Baltimore, the one that they needed to win to stay in the playoff race. Najee was out most of that game because of injury. Snell couldn't do anything. In fact, he had a false start at the goal line. Other than that, he didn't do anything. And then Najee came back probably after he got some cortisone, had one of the key runs on the winning drive that led to Boston Wells field goal to win the game. So I mean, I just don't see it. I don't. And so one person tried to tell me that was the return of Steelers football. I'm like, oh wow, that's deep. Okay. Okay. Get out the 70s now.
Yeah.
Break on Rocky here. Okay. But I think that they need to really consider picking up a veteran. And McFarland, if he stays healthy, I think he can make it. He could really contribute, but he has to be healthy. The man, I guess, pretty much last season was a wash for him. And as far as the two unsigned free agents, Jalen Warren, he made some impressions. He's making some impressions. I believe it was a time where he fumbled and Tomlin told him to get off the field rather candidly.
Oh no.
But no. I mean, he's still there, and but he's done some great things. And I'm trying to think who was number 40. Okay, Mateo.
40 is Durant.
Yeah, they like him as well. I mean, he also made some impressions too. So you never know. They could very well, excuse me, very well making enough of an impression to get a roster spot, or if Tomlin will say get a hat, and maybe the other one will get on a practice squad. But I'm for getting a veteran. If you're really serious about your running game and not killing your starter, then get a veteran on this team that can really just pour into him and just be that get that breathing. But having a 1 or 2 year player backing up a rookie, no, or backing up a first year player, no. So that's how I feel. So I think that's what they should do, and I hope they do it.
Yeah, we'll see how preseason goes, and we'll see how when it's time to cut down the rosters. We'll see if somebody becomes available that's pretty good or something like that.
Sure.
I'm really disappointed in Anthony McFarlane. I really thought he was going to be good, and he really hasn't done anything. And like you said, it's probably because of injuries, but and you gotta stay healthy. You got best ability is availability. So
yeah, that's for sure. We know injuries are part of the game, but I always remember in years past, I'm talking about years past, when John Stallworth, my favorite all-time Steeler, when he was playing, and at the beginning of his career. See, people know about the catches and know about how his career ended, but at the beginning of his career, he went through injuries. while Swan was tearing it up and doing his thing. Stallworth was injured, and one time, head coach Chuck Noll came up to him and said, "John, please stay healthy." He
Yeah.
just told him, "Please stay healthy." And eventually, it all worked out for him. But it's horrible to hear. I mean, think of the other 82, Yancey Thigpen. Only reason why his career didn't extend. He signed that contract in Houston, tore up his knee, and that was it. And that's unfortunate. So yes, health is wealth.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, I missed the Super Bowl 70s. I was a little bit too young for that, but I remember in the 80s, it was still John Stallworth was still kicking butt, like even into the mid 80s and late 80s. I remember that, so he was still really good. Trying to make Mark Malone look good.
Yeah, he had 84. Don't ask me how I remember this. 1,395 yards on 70. Yeah.
Okay. What did you have for breakfast this morning? Do you remember that?
I'll tell you what I did. What I had for breakfast. I didn't. I did not eat breakfast this morning, and that is a miracle because I usually do. But in a time in which, back then, before the internet came into the world, we had to read the paper. We had to study the paper or magazines or almanacs or whatever. And I just used to study it when I was younger. And I remembered that about him because he was averaging almost 900 yards a season at that point. Even the year he retired, he had 900 yards. I'm like, if dude wanted to play into the 90s, he could have.
He could have, yeah.
But he played 8 more years after Swan retired. And then he played with Louis Lips. I'm like, goodness gracious, they couldn't get to one Super Bowl with those two. But it just goes to show sometimes players just need time to develop.
Yeah, he was still good, and yeah, Louis Lips was really good, but yeah, I always wonder, it's like, why were those 80s teams so not good? And it's just I think they just, they just lost the magic of how to get players, because they got some hits, but they got a lot of misses too.
I don't know if you watched. Did you ever watch Chuck Noll's Football Life?
Yeah.
His wife said at the end when they won Super Bowl 14, his wife said that he told him, "Get ready for some struggles because this is it." So it was almost kind of like Noll solid because, like you said, because the talent just wasn't the same. It wasn't. Yeah. And it sucks. And then no free agency, so it was easy to hold on to the LC Greenwoods, to the White Whites, when unfortunately they were playing past their prime.
Yeah.
So it sucked. It did. The 80s were rough, and they tried, but other teams get better. I mean, look who the next dynasty was. It was the 49ers. So they stepped in and did their thing, and it just, you want it to go on forever. I mean, and look at today's game. How long has it been since we had the last NFL repeat champion? The Patriots, 03, 04. I mean, so it's hard. And I don't even think, the Rams, no, they're not going to repeat this year. Someone else is going to be ready to get hot and be ready for them. So it's hard.
You're lucky if your run lasts 2 or 3 years, and then you have to reboot. So yeah. But it's funny how, in the 80s, it was, you read the sports page of the newspaper, and you got like Sports Illustrated, Sporting News, all those magazines that came in.
Sir.
And you just read every word, because that's the only information we got. It's not like now where you're just flooded with information.
Yeah, we're spoiled now. I mean, just imagine if we would have had the internet back then in the 80s, what we would have done with it. But just to be able to pull up Google and pull up information, it's really something. It's really a privilege. It's a blessing indeed. But yeah, those 80s Steeler teams, they were rough. They tried though. And I was just talking to somebody about that 89 team that lost 51-0 to the Browns and 92-10 in 2 weeks. And I was 17 years old at the time. And I remember watching that team intently and just seeing how they turned it around. Kudos to Chuck Noll. Kudos. I mean, I'm going to say, people can say what they want about Bubby Brister, but he was a quarterback of that team. And he was able to get them and lead them into this turnaround, as well as Murrah Hodge, the way he ran wild back then, and in the defense, Rod Woodson and all them, so for them to do that, it's just a reminder to never give up. Even when you're down, don't give up. I talked to Merle Hodge about it one time. I said, that game inspired me. I said, y'all didn't have to win the Super Bowl to inspire me, but that game for them to beat Houston, where
That was
Gary Anderson nailed
amazing.
that. Yeah. I was like, man,
And then the next week they go into Denver and almost beat Denver with John Elway.
I
They
remember
almost won that game. They
that
almost
shoe
made
was
it to
one.
the championship game. Like,
And they would have ended
wow.
up playing Buffalo, and that would have been interesting. I would have loved it.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know what? I take it back. No, they would have ended up playing Cleveland.
Oh, that's right.
Right,
That's right.
because in other words, there wouldn't have been no drive. I think the fumble was the first year. It wouldn't have been a drive, yeah. So
Yeah.
that would have been really rich. But yeah, I remember that game again. It was 24-23 with the Broncos, I believe. And as much as I respect as I had for John Elway, he made me mad that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great point.
Yeah. We know the first two scores of the 1989 season, but something that happened last week, and I know it. No,
Right, for sure. And that's the truth. Just like back then, I used to have it memorized the Steelers schedule. No, I have to pull it up and look at it.
yeah.
First game of the season is against Cincinnati, which truthfully, I guess it's really been a long time since that's happened. But I guess they're trying to mix it up a little bit this
I
year.
think I think the Bengals are in for a big Super Bowl hangover. I think they're gonna, especially I don't think Joe Burrow's. I don't even know if he's gonna play in that game. He got appendicitis or something like that.
Yeah, that's true. I think I read something a little bit about that today. Yeah, he still needs time. And folks, when you win, or at least when you make it to the Super Bowl, it's easy for that big target to come on your back. Folks are gonna be ready. So, and I think the AFC North is gonna really be ready. And I can't imagine Pittsburgh's not used to Cincinnati sweeping them. So I think it's going to be a little different this year.
It's a whole different thing when when nobody expects anything, you could sneak up on people. But then when everybody says, "Oh, AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals," they're not sneaking up on anybody this year. So yeah, they're going to learn.
Yes, they are. And Baltimore, they're going to be ready because injuries suck, like we were talking about, for them to lose pretty much all their running backs, especially J.K. Dobbins. That was horrible. So and then so you hear what they're doing right for their preseason game.
What's that?
Most of the starters are being held out. John Harbaugh was like, nope.
Yeah,
they ain't playing, not at all. After what happened last
year. Smart. Yeah,
very smart.
Yeah, I think Baltimore's going to be really good. I think they got hit really hard with the injuries. So yeah, do wrap those guys in bubble wrap or something like that. Don't even let them practice. Just
do the same with Najee Harris too. I mean, Thomas says that his foot was just stepped on, but he hasn't practiced since. He's been having fun, and oh my goodness, he is a character. I mean,
he's so funny.
He took the camera and took pictures of the fans, which is good. That's very good. And then we were interviewing him on Saturday, and he was just cutting up with the media folk. Oh, I was cracking up. He's taller than I thought he was too. 6'3".
Oh, he's 6'3". Wow. Jeez.
Yeah, he's Marcus Allen's height, I believe, or Marcus Allen. Well, Marcus Allen is tall. So, but yeah, so I think keep him in bubble wrap. If not, then we gonna see Benny Snell if we want to or not.
That's right. That's a worst case scenario. Mm-hmm. On the defense, I think the biggest question is what's going to happen with inside linebacker. Yeah. We know it's Miles Jack, but then I don't know if it's a competition between Robert Spillane and Devin Bush, or it just seems like it, or I don't know what's going on with Devin Bush. I hope he's okay. I hope he is back to his rookie form before he got hurt, but I don't know. You hear conflicting things.
Yeah, he's definitely, especially since they didn't pick up his option this year, he's in a prove-it time right now in his life, and he has to show. He has to show it. It's hard when the expectations are just so high, and they traded up to number 10 to get him in his rookie season. So he's going to have to show that 2021 was an aberration, so I hope that he does. But Spillane has a lot of heart. He has a lot of fire in him, and he's going to give him a run for his money. So I think maybe they should rotate them too. rotate Spillane and Bush until somebody is worthy of it. But he's going to have to show it in these games here. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to get some playing time, but yeah, he's going to, yeah. And I know recovering from an ACL injury. In fact, I never tore one, but so I can't imagine. But I mean, you need a year to recover at least, and I think that maybe that's played a part. I mean, he had an interception in the playoff game, but it didn't matter because they lost. But still, so yeah, yeah. Spillane at this point, he may right now have the lead in this, but we'll see. We'll see. Starting Saturday, but he's going to have to show it and prove it. He really is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll see. Is there anyone in camp that kind of is like, besides George Pickens, that has kind of been a surprise that you think will be a surprise to make the team?
Yeah, and I guess I really wouldn't say surprise. I guess in a sense, but made an impression. I believe Connor Hayward has as well. I mean, we knew what he was doing and what he did in Michigan State. Obviously, he was very impressive in the Peach Bowl against Pitt. Caught that touchdown in the middle of traffic. My goodness, like the eye of the hurricane. But the way he was running his routes, the way he's running his routes right now at tight end, oh yeah, he's very impressive. You have the tight end set right now, but I think that they can get very experimental with him. Maybe kind of like what they did with Sean McHugh back in the day, back in '08. Use him as an H back. Use him as another fullback. Use him as a tight end. But he got a little bit of speed on him too. So I think he's the sleeper. He really is. And it was smart for them to pick him up more than a sentimental pick like people think it was. But no, kids can play.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because when your brother is on the team and when your brother is like one of the best players on the team,
Mhm.
I don't think Cam Hayward is ever going to say one good thing about his brother. It's like even
Of course not.
he could score the winning touchdown in the Super Bowl and Cam Hayward will be like, oh yeah, that was all right. I guess that was okay. I mean, it's just funny how he talks about him. It's just that
Yeah,
brotherly
Cam's funny.
thing.
He is very funny.
Yeah, that would be really cool. Yeah, make him an H back, put him all over the field, maybe have him run, have him do. Well, I think people get confused that like he was going to be in some competition with Derek Watt, and really I think Derek Watt just does his own thing.
Right.
He's like Derek Watt is special teams, and I think that's why people say, well, he's a fullback. It's like, not really. No, he's just a special teams guy. So just
special teams guys, true. And
yeah.
you make that impression on special teams, you're pretty much golden.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The other one I hear a lot about is that Demonte Casey, the safety. I heard he's making a good impression, and maybe in the season, maybe they'll have like a 3 safety set or something like that, or maybe he'll back up Terrell Edmonds or something like that. So
Yeah, and it's so needed because although some ways it was cool that they re-signed Edmonds. I mean, I kind of was about his career, but they were very impressed with him last year. They really were, and while the entire city of Pittsburgh honestly thought they were going to sign Tyrann Mathieu, I had a feeling they were gonna re-sign Edmonds, and so that worked out. But they had to get somebody, that's for sure. I mean, Carl Joseph, I'd like to see him for a full year too, but because he's a veteran and all. But I think there is a lot of seasoning that the secondary needs. I mean, you have, of course, like you have Amika Fitzpatrick, and you also have Kellen Witherspoon and Levi Wallace. You have those 3, and of course, I wish Joe Hayden would have stayed because that was my dude, and he's still sitting out there. That's what's interesting. But yeah, get enough safeties, get enough depth, make some impressions because they're going to need it because teams are going to test them. Teams are really going to test them. So it'll be interesting to see.
On paper, the Steelers defense looks really good, but then we'll see. We'll see. I heard Larry Ogunjobi just started practicing today, and he's like wreaking havoc, and like they did running drills, and the offense couldn't get any runs off. So that's very encouraging.
He's very encouraging because again, he's obviously going to be the top nod to replace Tuitt, and he's number 1 on the depth chart. So I hope he gets out there and does it. And they signed him for that reason. So hopefully he'll be ready to do it because it's needed. You got to do it. I mean, defense still wins championships, period. And and Pittsburgh's legacy is just that defense, a good defense. No matter what else they do have or don't have, a good defense goes a long way. Just like pitching in Major League Baseball. You got pitching, you're sold. Just ask those Atlanta Braves teams.
Yeah. Steve Avery and Greg Maddux and Smoltz.
I tell you, yes. And I think you pretty much hit the main three. Steve Avery and then Tom Glavine as well. Yeah.
Remember when they beat the Pirates in the playoffs? I'm still not over that.
God. Yeah. I remember just where I was.
Sid Dream. Yeah, that's one of those things you never forget where exactly you were when that happened. Oh, Francisco Cabrera. Oh man.
And he'll always be known for that. Not known for anything else, but for that. That is his name and claim to fame.
That's right. That's right. All right. So how can people find you and get more of your work?
Well, the website is www.urbanmediatoday.com. That's the website magazine, Total News Magazine. I'm in the sports division, obviously. And there, email me at rayporterjr72@gmail.com. That's another way. And of course, on Twitter, RP2872_JR. I don't know where I came up with that, but I think they came up with that for me. So those are the ways. But the magazine, but the website is the main way to see my work, see my articles.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I love your tweets. Make sure, definitely
Thanks,
a great follow. So, all right, hey, thanks so much for coming on. Great to finally have you on.
Thank you, sir, again for the invite. It was an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. All right, thanks a lot. I'll see you.
You have a good one.
Bye.